4th of August last year, the guy you see on the left came to me as an absolute brand new beginner looking to get into training, looking to build an aesthetic physique. Here is a photo of the exact same guy taken today, specifically now 8 months in advance. I'm going to teach you, as if you are a brand new beginner, how to actually add muscle to your frame and to your physique. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergi. I run the Gorilla Platoon, which is an online physique transformation program where we get results like this each and every week, and then we just speak about them online so you can take from them the practices, what you like, and you can apply them to your own life. Now, the main thing we're going to cover today is how to bulk as a beginner. I'm going to break this down because if you are coming to me and you look like this to begin with, going straight into a bulk is not actually the first move we're going to make. Now, that may be news to you, but bear with me here. What we're going to do is just jump out to his profile here and the setup in which we started with. So, this guy, when he first came to me, actually needed to do a recomp phase. The reason being, he was quite high in body fat. Problem is, if you bulk when you're high in body fat, I said 17, maybe it was harsh, maybe it's more like 15. If you bulk from that standpoint, you're going to run out of body fat percentage points until you're just fat. And because you're starting out in a position where you have low muscle, you'll just be fat with low muscle, which will be an absolute killer to your soul. You can try and tell me that you'll just keep pushing through 20%, 22%, 25%. You won't. No one has the mental bandwidth if they want to look and get in shape by getting further out of shape to do so. So the first thing you want to do is cut the fat. This is the very first thing you're going to do. This is phase one. You're going to do a body recomposition. Now, it's not solely just about getting leaner and leaner and getting skinnier. No. It's not about that. Because if you just do that, you're just going to be a smaller version of you. However, you do want to put on muscle, but you do want to get leaner at the same time. So we spent the first phase in a bit of a dieting phase, but just enough that we could still drive performance in the gym. So he started off at 2,285 calories. 10,000 steps a day, no formal cardio. As we can see, the scale weight started to trend down steadily, and we kept the feed in there for a good period of time, actually. There was a good amount of time we kept the feed in exactly where it needed to be, and we were seeing the drop-offs. We were seeing the drop-offs as we went through the process. I think what will serve you better is to see how we got on in terms of the change in the physique. So let's go 4th of August to the 5th of November, so you can actually see the changes in his physique. Didn't end up using cardio for this. Steps were fine. Feeding eventually came down as well. So let's go and show you his photos. Now, when it comes to body recomposition, if you are a beginner, you're in a very select position. Because if you get your training right, you're still going to be able to drive some muscle onto the body as well. This was the end of phase one. This is 14 weeks apart, and already we can see a great change to the physique. Look at the sheer difference in his delts versus what we had here, his pecs, his bicep, and then obviously the ab structure coming through as well. This is him obviously lean. You can see how crisp that bicep was. Now, because you're in a position where you're new to training stimulus, if you train correctly, you're going to respond to it very, very nicely, which means you are one of a select few categories where you can actually build muscle whilst being in a deficit, because you're going to respond very, very nicely to it. And this is why you don't want to go straight into a quote-unquote bulk or calorie surplus as a brand new beginner, because you will still respond very well to training stimulus. Because you've got to understand, that body on the left has never had any training stimulus done to it. So if you start putting external demands on your body to then move certain loads, the body thinks, oh God, this is our new way of life. We must cope for this demand, and we must give him muscle to supply and look after himself so he's not like in absolute pain every time you do it. That's the whole purpose of adaptation from training in the gym. So with this, we can see now you're going to build some muscle as well as dropping off the body fat. And this is why when you just get into the gym, and if you are a little bit soft but not carrying too much muscle, just sit just below your maintenance target. And honestly, rinse and repeat that out for many, many weeks, because you'll find yourself getting stronger in the gym. You'll find yourself getting leaner outside the gym, and it's an overall winning combination. So with this, the way you're going to approach your nutrition, and what we did for him was we kept his protein high, we kept his carbs high, and if we needed to bring down food, it would have come from fats, because your carbs are going to drive performance in the gym. Now, this guy, surprisingly, only trained at home with rings and dip bar in his garage, so the full workout routine was spoke about. I've done videos on it, how to train at home with just rings, if you need to go back and see that video. But the main purpose of this training, when you are just starting out as a beginner, is your form and execution. You hear that a lot thrown around and not really any substance given to it. It's just, oh, lift with good form, which is just like opposed to like not lifting messy. The way I want you to lift is I want you to be steady on the way down of all your movements. If you've got dumbbells at the top, you're going to come down 3, 2, 1, pause, and then drive the load back up. You're not going to be quick to rush through. If you start to do that as you're training from a beginning standpoint, you're going to grow a lot faster than everybody else, because you're going to gain some good quality muscle from the eccentric portion of the repetition. And because you're new to training, you're going to need to lift it slower as well. The reason being, you're new, therefore every pathway is new to you. Your body doesn't have like built up muscle memory in executing these movements, so lifting it slower will absolutely serve you in your better like controlled and understanding of how that movement should be. The next thing you're going to progress as you lift is your range of motion at each of the joints. So when you lift, you will start off and you may finish around here with dumbbells, but actually with full range you can get all the way back here, and you're going to increase that as the weeks go by. The next thing you're going to start to think about, and I want you to become slightly obsessed with your training, is think about the arm path of the movements. So if you're trying to train your chest starts here. It runs across the rib cage and inserts here onto your upper arm. So every time you train your chest, think about bringing your bicep towards the midline of your body. Don't think about bringing the load up and down, because you won't engage the chest. The bicep needs to converge across the pecs in order for us to add tissue to the pecs. If we're training our lats, then what's going to need to happen here is your lats start down here, obviously attached here to the spine, but also attached onto your upper arm. So you need to drag your upper arm down into your hip with the load, the lat pull down, in order to hit the lats. If it's the upper back and traps, arms out here around 45, you're going to need to shrug your shoulders back first, then drive the elbows back second to engage this here. And just to show you the improvements in the back, this is what we're working with. Nice. Side shot, reduce some of the body fat, got him a set of delts, built him a bit more of a chest. So it's a great improvement. And this is what you're going to do across your first phase. Now, what I want you to also do is, from the off, track the lifts you do. Obviously, we get our guys, members within the Gorilla Platoon, to always do this, so we know that they're making progress. You will do the same. Track and record every lift you do. Eat your meal plan with regards to being in a slight deficit to begin with, which this means most of you, when you first start out getting into the gym, you're probably not 10% body fat. If you are, then you have my blessing. Go straight into a bulk. If you're as lean as this guy is here, go straight into a bulk, fine. If you're not, you're going to need to do a recomp first. But just know the goal is always the same. As a beginner, you can still build muscle. That's the beauty of this. So this was his first phase, 14 weeks, and this was the difference between the two. Now, the next thing we want to look at is where he went from this then up to the next pathway. So if we just dip out of his photos and come back into the overview, the goal was then to go from 62, which he did, by the way, went from 68.7 to 62. The aim was around 61.5. We knew once we got to that point, we were ready to build. This wasn't a get there and we're done. This is get the body fat off, so we've got a long window ahead of us to grow. And now, from there, we went into his improvement phase. So 62, looking to push up to around 72 or so in 20 weeks. We're not married to the scale weight, but we're married to the look and how much muscle we're actually gaining. And what was good to see is that I've not seen many of these bulks where people have done it and so much of the weight gained is muscle. A lot of time you'll have to do a bulk. You might be able to gain 12 kilos. If half of that's muscle, brilliant. That's fucking exceptional. Most of the time it's not. But with this, if we look at his photos, we can see here that we've been able to really thicken up around the chest area, the delt area, and also the arm. So he's now a thicker version of himself. And the beautiful thing is, you'll be surprised at how much feed he's actually consuming. But look at the leanness that's cropping in here. To sharpen this up and get a six-pack, not going to be a big job at all. That'll come off quite nicely. But we can see a great improvement on the physique from where we were at in the starting point. Side view delts, tricep now coming on as well. Back shot. The back shot's probably one of the most impressive. Look at the sheer difference in his back there. And if we just compare that, by the way, to the very starting photo, which we want to showcase in this video, It's a literal night and day difference. It looks like two completely different people. Now, let's get into the meats of this and show you what we've been doing in terms of the gaining phase. So we started off at a high amount of calories, 3,492 calories. And we worked up to this. We didn't start off, obviously, that high to begin with. This has gone through the recomp phase. But look what's gone here. 3.5, 3.650, 3.650, 3.8, 3.8, 3.8, 3.8. For a long period of time, that was working nicely. 4K, 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 4.2, 4.2, 4.2, 4.4, 4.4. And yeah, that was last week. So we can see that his feeding has gone a lot. This geezer is eating 4,400 calories. That's how good his metabolism is now. Whereas if you try to bulk someone when they're 17% body fat, guaranteed the metabolism is not in the right space for this. Guaranteed they'll just get fat. This guy's not fat and he's eating 4,400 calories on the weekly basis, on the daily basis, sorry. So we can see how much thicker he's got across this and how much food he's actually consuming. So the way you're going to approach this to your nutrition is you want to just look after your stomach when you're eating this. So if you're doing a meal like this, oats, peanut butter, honey, banana, look to blend it. Look to get some water and some ice in there to make it drinkable. Meal 2, add olive oil if need be. He's on 150 grams of dry weight rice. I'm cutting at the minute. I'm having 160 in a day, so good for him. Chicken breast 150. And the olive oil is just going to allow it to go down a bit smoother. Meal 3, we added raisins to then make this meal a bit more appetizing. Meal 4 is a low one, just straight after the gym. Meal 5, same principle, olive oil's added in, pasta's nice and high. And then a meal 6 at the end of the day. This meal plan is making me hungry, to be honest. I'm actually at a deficit right now and I'm very hungry. Dates at 90, peanut butter, dark chocolate. So we can see here his carbs are pretty high, obviously. They're going to be, if you're on 4,400 calories, at 687. Now, the reason they're that high is to drive performance in the gym so that you can get thicker and stronger. Protein's obviously going to be high at 192, and fats, that's pretty high as well at 102. You're going to need that amount of food, though, and that's the way we like to balance it. Notice how we're eating things like dates, very easy to get down. Nut butter's very easy to get in. Same with dark chocolate. So that meal that's 960 calories, but that's going to be an easy meal to consume. Sure, the dates are going to take up a bit of chewing. But the way I do this, just chop up the dates, get the peanut butter, get the yogurt, and blend it all. That's going to be a nice dessert meal. This meal here, obviously, you'll munch through the pasta. The oil is going to allow it all to liquidate and go down quite nicely. Same for this meal here. And then this meal, you can look to blend it. Or if you fancy, you can swap the oats out for cream and rice. That's going to go down. It's going to sit a little bit better. I'll be honest, oats are great for dieting down. For bulking up, they do get a bit tedious, although this guy's got them in twice. You can opt for like a cream of rice option. A little bit more pricey for sure, but they do go down a lot smoother. So I just thought it'd be interesting to show you like how much food he's now consuming, considering we started at 2,200 and obviously eventually got all the way down and was able to start to bring it back up later on down the line. In terms of a scale weight increase, as of today, now sat at 68.3. So since he started, we are just about let's call it a kilogram away from being like for like the same weight. But when you look at those photos here in the start of these images, it's two completely different people. He's the same weight, but for sure the body composition is completely different. And this is why I don't want you to be married to the weight and to scale weight, because it doesn't give you the true picture. What gives you the true picture is muscle and body fat, not overall weight. A lot of you will get married to being a certain scale weight, and it doesn't matter whether you're for bulking or for cutting. It doesn't matter. It's not about the scale weight. It's about how much muscle you have and how lean you are in order to get that shape. So don't get too out of bed about the scale weight. But I wanted just to show you this overall plan to show what's possible, really. That, this is in a span of 8 months. And if you're new to training and you train correctly and you get yourself lean first, then you go into a bulking phase, you'll be on a lot of food, you'll be building a lot of muscle, and you'll also be lean as well. And, I want this for most of you, because this is a night and day difference. If you look at these two photos, this is a night and day difference. This is two completely different human beings. This is one guy that never stepped in a gym. This guy, he's still technically not stepped in a gym. He trains at home. But the point I'm making is this is now a guy that walks around a lot more confident and a much better physique. All of you can have this. Get into the gym. Do not wait for another day to get in the gym. It will literally change your life doing this. A lot of you are sat on the fence thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it. No, go and do it right now. Go to the fucking gym, sign up, start lifting weights, watch my videos. They'll teach you how to execute properly. If you want me to do this for you, there'll be links in the description, but just get into the gym. And if you do any form of good training with dialing in your nutrition in the first starting, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. This guy, by the time he's done a full year, his physique's going to look two completely different people. After 2 years, night and day. But the thing is, if he just started with the guesswork, he wouldn't be where he is now. But he had a plan, he tracked everything, and we executed efficiently to get him to that state. So hopefully you found this insightful and useful as well. But I wanted to make this to get beginners into the gym, training, and completely change their physique and life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.